I purchased the Lane Homestead at the 45th parallel in Ripley, Somerset County, Maine, and moved here from Boston nearly 30 years ago. Over the years, there have been many experiences that have unnerved me, and two of my tenants told me about what happened to them. I rent rooms and have had a number of people live here, some for years. Both these tenants stayed in the bad door room, which I will explain. When I first came here, there were a number of incidents that indicated some kind of a presence. The most significant was the unlatching door. The bedrooms upstairs have antique wrought iron-style door latches. A flattened iron rod falls into a slot when the latch is released, or when the door is shut, the rod slides into the slot, which is attached to the door frame. You have to click it up and out of the slot to open the door. One room in particular, the door would never stay shut for very long. The door was not found wide open, just unlatched and open a few inches. During the most active point, the door would not stay latched for more than a day. For periods of time, I have lived here alone, and so there was no one to blame for the door being opened when I had shut and latched it a day or two before. This section of the house is very sturdy and level, so it could not be accounted for by a give in the floor that would unlatch it, and the wind could not unlatch it. For a while, I would take particular note making sure the doors to the bedrooms upstairs were all shut. There are 4 bedrooms facing into the hall and staircase with a window above the stairs. One day I had been downstairs in the front room, lying on the couch watching TV, and heard the latch click open. The hairs stood up on the back of my neck, and goose flesh appeared on my arms and legs. A cold chill traveled through me. I was freaked out. These things rarely seem to happen in the evening. It was in the afternoons that there were the strongest feelings of supernatural activity. I had to face this fear of whoever or whatever was upstairs. In the past, I had closed the door and expressed out loud that I did not want the door to be opened again. This time, I flew up the stairs to the door and waved my finger at the door after closing it and yelled, "You bad door, stay shut." I said a few prayers. No one was there, of course. There are things that are out of our understanding, and this is one of them for me. There is no explaining how the door becomes unlatched on its own. The particular tenants previously mentioned stayed in this room with the bad door. Tammy rented here for about 6 months. One morning, she asked me if I had come into her bedroom overnight. I had not. Then she went on to explain that someone had sat on her bed while she slept, which really upset her. Phil, the other tenant, said the same thing happened to him. He rented here for a number of years. He felt someone sit on his bed while he was in it a few times. Phil also said that many times when he came home from work, the door to his room had been opened, when he had left it latched before going off in the mornings. He thought that I had been going in his room. When we talked about the door being opened and someone sitting on his bed, he became unnerved. Another tenant renting here that had paranormal experiences was Neil. He thought he saw a ghost. He rented the room beside the bad door one. Neil saw an aberration walk through his room. I thought I saw something walk through my room. One time he was home alone and had shut the bedroom door next to his, and shortly later the door was open. Neil said, "There was no breeze. The window was closed, and I know I closed the door, and somebody opened it. I felt there's a spirit in the house. Not an evil one, just a spirit." Diane, a friend from Chicago that stays at the farm a few times a year, was sleeping in the blue room across from the bad door room. As she explained, I had been asleep and felt someone pull a cover over me, but they didn't. I had been cold and pulled the covers over myself. Something floated through the room and out the window. It was so real. I did not see her, but felt a presence. It was very peaceful and definitely a woman. It has been my observation that the entity opens the door and crosses the hallway to this blue room to look out into the dooryard, or goes through the other bedroom to the far end of the house. One day, while out in the garden weeding, I headed for the house to get a drink and to take a break from the hot sun. As I entered the dooryard from out behind the barn, I looked up into the window in the blue room. This bedroom faces into the dooryard and to the southwest. There was a man standing there in the window with a woman behind him looking out. No, not real people, not flesh and blood humans, but the image of them in the ether as watery figures in my subconscious. I saw them all the same. Upon coming into the house, I went right upstairs to the room. No one was there. There have been other times sitting upstairs reading when it felt as if someone had passed by me. There would be a wisp, a whoosh, and then a curtain would move unexpectedly. Yes, a breeze could explain the curtain's movement. No, I did not see a person or see a ghost, just the hint of one, or something ethereal. Not of this world. At times there has been the form of a woman glimpsed at the edge of my conscious mind as a dream figure. When outside looking in the windows of this old farmhouse is when the forms became most manifest. When inside the house, these experiences are typically more sensual, not often visual or auditory. They are more sublime and out of my conscious mind. You might call these kinds of experiences ethereal waking dreamscapes. In recent years, the paranormal activity has decreased and seems more deeply ethereal to me. These experiences register more in my unconscious mind, not in physical reality, as they had seemingly been doing. My cat, Orgone, had been acting strangely too. He would be on the couch with me and get down, go across the room, and stand at attention, looking into the hall and stairway to the bedrooms, upstairs, and bad door room. This went on for about a month. Orgone would stand at the door from this front room to the hall, front door and stairs. He would look up the stairs in a crouching way. He crept in a stalking manner to the hall and stairs. Orgone appeared to be frightened. I have enjoyed living here in Ripley. If there are ghosts here, or not, I am now part of the history of this place too. If anything, these kinds of experiences have allowed me to feel more connected to the spiritual world of which this physical one is made.